Hi, welcome to Mayhem News Live Wrestling Broadcast. This is T-Mib Lives. It is 10/8/2013, and we did not have a show Saturday. It was close to payday, and we were out. The wife was not feeling that well, so I just decided to wait for the pay-per-view and do everything at once. So we're probably gonna. I'm trying to do this thing where we take, most popular pay-per-views in the past. To qualify the pay-per-view just has to be already took place. So, I could do one that happened just recently. We're going to try to take those, and we're going to try to, basically rebook it, and see what we would have done, what we have talked to other fans, and see if they would what they would actually do. And I had to adjust the camera. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're gonna try to do that. And when we do that, I'll probably drop down to maybe one show, or just do two shows every other week. It just depends on it. I'm gonna do a couple of test runs first. So got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm really excited to get to the stuff about the pay-per-view. I mean, even though the pay-per-view was, but there was some stuff that happened in the pay-per-view that was cool. So we're just going to get into headlines right now, then we're going to move on. Okay, TNA is only running 2 live Impact shows and 1 pay-per-view that will be live in October. Could this possibly be a test run for all taped shows? It's a possibility. And let's see, if you are a wrestling fan, you got to check out Justin Incredible's Pro Wrestling 101 via his YouTube channel. He has some great guests. Goldust has been on there. Tommy Dreamer. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to like it. You can follow him on YouTube. You can also find him on Facebook. He posts them there too. So WWE.com reveals the reasons behind the cryptic Undertaker tweets. There was a lot of people saying, well, it's based on he's going to return, which it's kind of against the MO of when the Undertaker comes back in WWE each year. And then they were saying, well, it's about the 2K14, they have the Undertaker edition, the Phenom edition, but that's not it either. Apparently the tweets for a series of, they're advertising a series of Todd McFarlane statues called the Icon series, and the Undertaker is one of the first ones. It's terrible that it's only WWE stars they're doing, because if you're going to do icons, Sting needs one. If you're listening, Todd McFarlane, you need to talk to Sting. Okay, Sting needs to be in this. I mean, he's called the Icon. Hello. Let's see here. Vicky Guerrero reveals that Del Rio's opponent at Hell in a Cell will be John Cena. So John Cena has pulled another Superman and returned several months before he was supposed to return. So that's or at least several weeks anyway. We all know John Cena's. Yeah, he was supposed to be out 6 to 9 months. We all know John Cena's healing capacity and his ability to return early. It's documented. There was actually somebody tweeted on Twitter last night, and the name of who said it fails me. I can't remember who it was. Said that if I had to sit in a room with Nikki Bella every day and not be able to go anywhere and had to stay home recovering, I would heal faster too. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've been down on the Bellas, but after watching the Total Divas show and seeing that maybe they're not exactly the heartless bitches that their characters portrayed. Them working with Special Olympics, even though it's with WCW, where in the hell did that come from? Even though it's with WWE, Somebody in WCW is talking about me. Who are you? I need emails. Anyway, wow, that was that was a fraudulent slip, maybe. But they're working with people with the WWE, you know. So I'm kind of down on the Bellas, but now that was a little harsh. I mean, the Bellas are beautiful women. And, you know, it seems like they do have a little more heart than they let on. The fact that Natalya is actually friends with him off camera says a lot. Kind of gives them a little more creed. So, you know. Charles Wright, a.k.a. the Godfather baby, is looking to return to pro wrestling full-time in the indie scene. And, you know, I always liked the Godfather. My funniest Godfather memory is when he walked out without the hose. Okay, ladies, I'm not calling anybody a hoe. That's just what he called them. Okay, they were supposed to be prostitutes. But he walked out, and the crowd was like, boo! I mean, they were booing him really, really bad. He was like, and then he walks back to the backstage and walks out, and he goes, and the hose walked out, and the crowd goes crazy. The other funniest thing with him is right after Owen Hart died, him and Road Dogg were supposed to have a match. And he comes out into the ring, and he says, you know, why don't you, me, and these hoes go back and burn a few for Owen? And they don't have the match, they just leave. Yeah, that was classic. If you don't know who Gangrel is, shame on you. You shouldn't be watching the show. Anyway, Gangrel has created a new vampire faction. He actually bit another group, and I don't know what they were called before. There was two guys that they called themselves something else. He bit them at a show, and now they call themselves the Daywalkers. Let's just hope, you know, Wesley Snipes and them don't try to sue him for it. But anyway, it's very cool. In a day where you don't have that many characters anymore. The article talks about Vampiro. You know, my favorite Vampiro memory is when he's teamed up with Sting when the brothers in paint. You know, it talks about the Brood, you know. I think it's cool. Daywalkers, awesome wrestling name. And in times where vampire movies are so popular nowadays, it's really wise for Gangrel and to, and I believe it's in the AWA that he's doing this, so that's really cool. There's many inside TNA, and you know, are crediting, and these are not official statements. It's stuff people have overheard. They're actually crediting the reason why TNA has not closed its doors because of Spike TV. TNA is actually the highest rated show, or at one point was the highest rated show on Spike TV, which is actually pretty surprising, actually. And basically they're saying that Spike TV is what's keeping them, you know, out of shutting down. There are many whispers wondering that if the Carter family might sell the business. They're questioning who they're going to sell it to. What would happen if they sold it? You know, would the person revitalize the brand? Who on the roster would stay? And like I said, this is just stuff people's overheard, people talking about. This did not come from the Carter family. You know, so Hogan has been written off Impact Wrestling. Thank God. I think now they're in negotiations, from what I understand, with a new contract. But right now, he's pretty much free to do anything he wants. So maybe it'll be do a talk show. You know, have it come on about 3 a.m. while I'm asleep. That would be cool. A fan actually called Dixie stupid. He said, you know, is it just me, or do you everything you doing on TNA just seems stupid? And she responded, no, it's just you. The big question this week, is Dixie Carter stupid? Now, I don't believe she is stupid. If she was stupid, TNA would have closed its doors long ago. She's smart enough to keep people around her that know the wrestling business. You know, she's got people like, at one point she had Tom Pritchard. At one point, now she does keep some people around her that have not exactly been helpful to the wrestling business. Bischoff, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Bad sinuses, I'm sorry. And, Hogan, excuse me. But she does keep people around, and even though me and Al Snow have had problems in the past, all that is water under the bridge. But she's got Al Snow, who is, first of all, it's obvious that Al Snow's smart because he deals with David Hero at GLCW. I mean, they're best friends, but he's actually part of that group. And I talk about GLCW all the time. It's a local Milwaukee thing, but they're awesome. And if I were to want to look up a good indie wrestling show, David Hero and GLCW would be in the dictionary.
This way, that's a Milwaukee show, and there's people that are coming from
Missouri. There's people coming from Montana, Missouri. I mean, there's people coming from around the country just to see a David Hero show, and of course, it's one of the biggest ones. It's basically GLCW's WrestleMania. You might as well say, without actually being called WrestleMania. It's Blizzard Brawl 9. First of all, he always benefits. This year it's benefiting cystic fibrosis, and they always do good shows. I talked to an indie star here not too long ago via text, and I'm not going to say his name because it was a private conversation. It was a private conversation, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he said it's very, very seldom that he said I can get on the internet when someone suggests, me work with a company, and I look up the person that runs it. This person being David Hero, and there's nothing negative as far as business about him. No, he said a lot of people told me that they don't even consider David Hero a promoter because of the way he treats his people that he works with. If you haven't met David Hero, find a way to get to Milwaukee and go to one of his shows. It's worth it. You can literally use it to test every wrestling show you ever go to. Seriously, it's that fun. The fan interaction, and I'm pretty sure that happens at all indie shows, but they actually encourage it. His meet and greets were the pattern that TNA uses now, and it's just, his meet and greets are awesome, and you never know who's going to show up. You might get there and they got, these group of people are going to be meet and greet, but you might get there and there'd be 6 other people there that just said, hey, I want to come to the show. They were like, cool. So follow him on Facebook. That's David Hero. That's HERRO. Follow him on Twitter. That's @DavidHero. Same thing. You can follow them. You can check out BlizzardBrawl.com. That is their main page. It doesn't just have stuff for Blizzard Brawl. It's got all of his shows. They do great parties. They do WrestleMania things, especially around WrestleMania. Big shows during WrestleMania. But, I don't believe Dixie Carter is stupid. However, I do believe she's not believable as an on-screen character. As fake as Stephanie McMahon can be at times in the ring, and as brilliant as she can be sometimes, Dixie, you are not Stephanie McMahon. You need to stop acting like you are. Quit trying to compare yourself and trying to be Stephanie, actually trying to be her. I've talked to many wrestlers who have been heels. I've asked this question. I usually ask this question to everybody. Most of them tell me that being heel, as like I said, I've talked to the wrestlers who have been heel, is personal. You got to own the heel persona you create. Copycatting just doesn't cut it. And her trying to be somebody else like Stephanie McMahon it just doesn't work.
There's only one Stephanie McMahon.
Many talking about RVD returning as a heel. I like RVD whether he's a heel or not, so it's not a big deal. Okay, this is an open letter to WWE. And it's also the open letter to anybody that doesn't know who I'm fixing to talk about is. If you don't, you need to, educate yourself. WWE, you're very famous for superstars running dual characters. With that being said, WWE, we want Chimera in the WWE. If you know who this is, you get points for being a true wrestling fan. Chimera is an alternate character, an alter ego to a current person on Raw and SmackDown. I'm not going to tell him his name because if you don't know, you either don't deserve to know. But what you need to do is search Chimera or Chimera's Rage. You can go to YouTube, and I'll give you that much. And see if you can figure out who's behind the mask. We want Chimera. If you don't know who Chimera is, like I said before, educate yourself now. TNA pulled a .95 rating with 1.126 million viewers. That's an increase from the 0.86 from 2 weeks ago. TNA is offering free tickets to all federal employees. I think that's a class act. According to PWS, former Knockout Tara ripped into TNA saying she would never return, saying her time in TNA made her appreciate her time in WWE even more. David Hero did announce a change in the GLCW Blizzard Brawl 9 card via his Facebook and Twitter. And as soon as I can get this page to turn, I will tell you. He basically said that Dustin Rhodes 1 or Goldust would not be able to attend Blizzard Brawl 9 due to the recent changes in his WWE status. I agree with David Hero. Goldust will be missed at Blizzard Brawl 9. I was looking forward to meeting him again. However, it's good to see him back on the big stage. That's where he belongs. My wife is watching Raw. She didn't watch it last night. She was not feeling well.
That's right where he belongs.
And Goldust is right where he belongs. Main event, Raw, every week, pretty much. He's got the new paint on. Awesome.
The title.
Yeah. We think WWE needs to let Goldust run for a title run. I think it'd be good. I think he at least needs to have the champion at least one time. I know he is satisfied with what he has so far. I do like the fact that when Triple H walks out in Raw to ringside, Goldust's eyes never left Triple H the whole time. And the makeup that he's wearing is his Darth Maul type makeup. It really looks good. It really looks creepy.
Watch Raw, watch it.
It really looks creepy. And
hell no.
Yeah, it really does look good. Yeah, it's good to see him back on. Goldust is in probably the best shape of his life. And WWE, let me tell you something. Do yourself a favor. Update Goldust's picture. You're using a picture. He does not look anything like that anymore. His costume's different. Well, it's different now because he's wearing the Star Wars tribute.
Well, he had to.
He has lost so much weight and gotten so much better shape using DDP yoga and everything. You need to update it. Okay, Battleground discussion and the roads to redemption. And the reason why it's just a discussion is because there's only a couple of things in the whole match, the whole pay-per-view that's even worth talking about. I will not be talking about the full Battleground pay-per-view. Why, you ask? Because the pay-per-view as a whole was a fail. However, the WWE, not only, if you do not know the results, this is a spoiler alert, by the way. WWE not only needs to give the Rhodes family the contract that they won at the pay-per-view, but they also need to give them a big thank you for actually giving a lot of the fans that tuned in a reason to actually buy the pay-per-view.
They turned it off.
I myself, I agree with Damian Nelson from the PWR show, and also David Hero. That was actually the only match that even drawed. I liked the CM Punk match. I actually liked the basic match between Bryan and Orton. I didn't like what happened afterwards, but And then, the pre-show match between Ziggler and Del Rio, was worth the show, But they need to thank, other than, like I said, the CM Punk match, Ziggler versus Del Rio, and Daniel Bryan's draw from him facing Orton, and, the people, that are looking forward to seeing him as the champion. The pay-per-view was weak other than that. The fact that I wanted to watch it live because I wanted to see it as it happened, but if it hadn't been for the Dusty, I wouldn't have got it if it hadn't been for Dusty Rhodes and Cody Rhodes and Goldust. I'm sorry. Let's see, but the Rhodes Dynasty, which that's who I'm going to call Dusty and them, so I don't have to keep repeating everybody's name. With the Shield, actually put on a great match. I mean, we got to see the bionic elbow to Ambrose. Very cool. We got to see Dusty be Dusty, if you will. Yeah. We got to see the kneeling uppercut from Goldust, classic. Sorry I'm not going to use vintage because that's Michael Cole's word. And we got to see a Crossroads by Cody for the win. We got to see the Rhodes Dynasty coming in and having a private, hug in the middle of the ring. We got to see the whole back, the locker room coming out. And to be honest, if the pay-per-view hadn't come back on after the power outage, the pay-per-view would have been better off. The only regret was you wouldn't have got to see Punk wrestle. Now that we've talked about the high points, the Bryan Orton match was actually a high point, that taking place. We all pretty much figured that, the title was going to be held up to at least Hell in the Cell. I mean, it's very seldom that they let somebody win a title on a new pay-per-view. And I see why what happened at the pay-per-view makes sense after watching Raw. But if you remove the Raw scenario, the knowledge that I've watched Raw, at the time of the pay-per-view, it didn't make sense. I mean, especially, and it made a little more sense, just a little bit, just a smidgen, just a little bit, after Big Show hit Randy Orton and said no more. Okay? He got up on the ring post and said, no more. And as Captain Ear asked on Twitter, when will Big Show actually get his balls back? Well, looks like Big Show got his balls back. Now, I know that TNA and SmackDown actually took place before the pay-per-view, but I'm doing them this way because I couldn't wait to talk about the other stuff. So, and this show may be a little longer than 30 minutes, so, because I've got a lot to cover. TNA results, yes, like I said, I did it because I couldn't wait to talk about the Roads to Redemption. I'm sorry. Style and Bully open up, basically face off with the War of Worlds. Wow. A War of Words. Styles letting Bully know he'll face Samoa Joe. And I'm sorry, anytime Austin Aries is on TV, we're winning. It's just, he's good TV. I'm sorry. He reminds me so much with the way he does promos. He reminds me so much of Punk. It's pitiful. If he was a little taller and from a distance, it's really scary. Anyway, Manic and Hardy defeat Sabin and King. Magnus defeats Daniels. Now, this was a gauntlet match. Then he defeated Kaz. And then he loses to Bobby Roode. And he's really upset, which, understandable. He's been kind of had a bad unluck streak going here lately. Excuse me. And, Sting, he says, Flair put you over. Who's going to put me over? And Sting said, I am. I will at BFG. You're going to face me. Which, I think that's a wise move. I think, let's see here. Joe defeats Bully by DQ. Hogan quits and walks out on Dixie Carter as she's grabbing a hold of his thigh.
Okay, that was fun.
That was actually funny. And then on Twitter, she actually fires him, even though he's done quit. Now, we know for a fact that Hogan is in negotiations with TNA. And we know for a fact. Hold on. But, right now, he can pretty much do. He doesn't have a contract with TNA at all. Moving on to SmackDown. Other than, the Rhodes Dynasty being on there, and I know this took place before the pay-per-view. The show was all right. I mean, R-Truth defeats Del Rio. Looks like they're looking to push Truth. I think it's a good idea. Real Americans defeat Primetime Players. I'm really starting to like Titus O'Neil. Some of the things he's doing off stage, and talking about his grandmother, and talking about why he does what he does and everything. Bray Wyatt defeats Ryder. Another no contest between Ziggler and Ambrose. I swear, just keep cookie cutting them, WWE. Just keep, using that cookie cutter. Anyway, Shield defeats Ziggler, RVD, and Kingston. Deja vu? Didn't we just see that match a couple of weeks ago? No, anyway. They restarted. AJ defeats Cameron. AJ was out. Apparently, during the pay-per-view, she hit her head on the turnbuckle. And apparently, before the Raw show, she's showing some signs of concussion, so she was not on Raw. Santino defeats Slater, and Miz defeats Orton by DQ. Moving on to Raw. Ziggler defeats Sandow. Same match as the pay-per-view, same outcome. Natty, JoJo, and Eva Marie defeats Alicia Fox, Oksana, and Rosa Mendez, sporting the blonde hair, by the way. Good match. Of course, it had Natalya in it. I mean, yay. And I gave the Los Matadors kind of a snap reaction. The idea works. The bull even makes sense. It kind of reminds me of Tito Santana. Anyway, it's great. I mean, it really is. They really handle the characters really well. And CM Punk and R-Truth defeat Ryback and Axel in an awesome team up with Punk and Truth. Fandango defeats Ryder. Real Americans defeat Santino and Khali. Wyatt's Crash Miz TV. By the way, Bray Wyatt's exorcism walk, where he turns over and walks belly up. Creepy. Bryan, Goldust, and Cody defeat the Shield. Triple H restarts the Shield, restarts the match. The Shield defeats Bryan and Goldust and Cody. The Rhodes are back where they belong in the main event. Raw has been brought the gold back. Shield attacks the group. Big Show is fired, comes out. She was fired by Stephanie earlier. Giant
Cool. I figured
plus
that.
nothing to lose
I'm watching Raw from last night.
equals bad day for the Shield and Triple H. Triple H, after the WMD from Big Show drops faster than TNA ratings.
Yeah, well, he's wrestling there.
It's great. It's really good. It's really cool.
That's good.
I actually enjoyed that part of Raw. It actually saved the whole show. Like I said, the show was a little longer, because I had a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about some sponsors. Follow Zach Pack Promotions on Facebook. It's Zach Pack Promotions. On Twitter, there at ZPack Promotions on Twitter. And www.ZachPackPromotions.com. You can find out everything about busting for autism there. November 16th through the 17th in Katy, Texas. You can have lunch with the stars. Goldust is sold out. And who else did she say was sold out? Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Hacksaw is sold out on the lunch, right?
I think she's got two of them, I know.
What? No, Russell's doing his show. He's trying
And
to
but you've got Sergeant Slaughter, Gene Snitsky, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Joey Image, Honky Tonk Man, Rikishi, Selena Gaspar. Hacksaw is sold out, so we have 2 sold out. That's Goldust and Hacksaw is sold out. Houston area Ghostbusters and Ecto. You got some Extreme Paranormal stars going to be there. Iron Man 3s, Iron Patriot, actor Robert Zedar, ZM Decker, Hands of God, author Tony Acree, and NPC bodybuilder Brett Trevino will be there. Also check out Fight Disability Slurs.wordpress.com. You can follow them on Twitter. That's Fight, capital N, capital D, I-S, capital S-L-U-R-S on Twitter. And you can follow them on Fight Disability Slurs on Facebook. We're trying to block out any kind of slurs, disability, racial, or otherwise. I want to appreciate and I talked to Fiddler Throttle from Throttle, who gives us our theme song, New Blood. He told me that their new album will be out on iTunes and Amazon first, and then as soon as they do because they're just going to do some stuff for them to give out at shows and sell at shows. And he said as soon as he can get into promotional stuff, he's going to send me some stuff, and we're actually going to try to give it away on Twitter and Facebook. And as always, I always give a shout out to Blast 52. You can find all their stuff on our page. It's on the right. That's mayhem-news.com. You can find all that stuff over there. You can get there, go to their Amazon link if you have a Amazon account, or you can go to iTunes if you have an iPhone. And you can download their stuff. They have a new album, We Can Pretend, and it's a new EP. It's great. They sent me a copy, and it's great music. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everything that I really appreciate everybody we are up way over 1,000 views, and I appreciate it. I've been doing some stuff on Vine to try to post, get people to subscribe. So if you see some funny stuff from me on Vine and on Facebook and Twitter, that's why. It's just me, So, and I was really bored, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to promote the show. Okay, but I'm going to let Throttle take us out, and I appreciate it. This has been Mayhem News Live, wrestling broadcast for 10/8/2013. Appreciate it, and take us out, Throttle. So he said, well, we are wrong anyway, so.